There are things that you do that you literally have no control over. There are certain triggers that somebody can say or do where it will put you into a fight or flight mode. These triggers can be success driven, lead you to become more successful, or they can completely destroy who you are. What's up? It's Dean Soto, and I want to talk about healing childhood traumas that have happened so long ago that you might not even know that you have these things, and how it relates to business, how it relates to success, how it relates to you living the most abundant life possible. Because when these things are cleared away, you can be truly who you are. So I grew up very poor. From my earliest memory, I was always going from motel to hotel, trailer park, from my mom's boyfriend's house to the next boyfriend's house to this place, and so on and so forth. And everything from abuse to drugs and alcohol, all those different things were laid out in front of me, sometimes done to me. And I would imagine there are things that I don't even remember that have happened that caused me to have certain reactions, even to this day, that pop up without me even noticing until they become pretty apparent, and then I'm able to let them go and release, and which I'll share in just a second. But especially being a man, a lot of the times we feel like we can just change logically things that have happened, and habits and dispositions that are within us. We feel like we can change them by just willing them, by just changing, like logically saying that's not right, whatever. I'm gonna transform my life by simply just willing it into existence. Fortunately, as the divorce stats show, as how many people are overweight, how many men are overweight, how many men are addicted to drugs, to television, to everything under the sun, games, and so on and so forth. There is an obvious thing that a lot of people overlook, and that is these blocks or these emotional triggers that we have that lead us to do stuff that we have no clue that we're even doing it. So a few years ago, in fact, it was relatively not that long ago, I want to say it was a year and a half ago, I would get in these huge arguments with my teenage daughter. I would get in these arguments where my wife would look at me like, and just not understand why I was getting so angry over whatever she said. And I would think that my daughter was being disrespectful. She was pushing my buttons. She was not listening to me. She was whatever. And my wife, when I would ask my wife, she would say, no, I didn't really get that. I didn't really hear any of that. I don't really think she was being disrespectful. It was actually pretty normal what she said. And yet inside of me, there would be this just well of, and it wasn't just anger. It was just this feeling of I had to do something. I had to say something. I had to defend myself, right? And it was almost where I could not control. Never anything physical, never anything. It was always just like I would come back with a comment, or I would say, you need to go to your room, or you need to do this, or whatever, and it would lead to these just nasty arguments. Well, it wasn't until I actually started listening to a couple of different YouTubers, and mind you, during this time I've already built a Inc. 5000 fastest growing company. We didn't actually get nominated till the 22nd or till 2022, but by that time we're already in seven-figure land per year, right? And so, despite this, despite these triggers, despite these things, I was able to become successful, which I'll talk about in just a second, and why that was. In fact, my success was because of those triggers and the fears that I had of being homeless and my family being homeless and all these things. So I'd always do things out of scarcity, right? So anyway, going back to these arguments that I would have, I ended up looking and finding these different YouTubers who were talking about terms like releasing, things like letting go, terms like letting go. And they talked about a book called Letting Go. I forgot who the guy's name was, the author who actually wrote it. But the whole idea was that you have these emotions that pop up. And what we tend to do, what we want to do is we want to suppress those emotions. We want these things to go away. These don't feel good. You know, my daughter says something, it makes me feel bad, and I want it to go away, right? Well, that's the natural human reaction. But what is not being taught, what we don't learn, is that these emotions are there for a reason. They have protected us for a long time. They were there to protect us when we were children, when we were young, when we were going through things that we did not want to, that whether it was abuse or whether it was fear or whatever it was, those helped us. That emotion helped us to get past whatever it was. And then our body says, oh, okay, when that thing pops up, I just have to have that emotion come out and we'll survive. We will thrive, right? Well, as you get older and older and older, those emotions don't help. Those emotions, the triggers, the innate responses don't help anymore. And so we have to do what? Do we just hide them? Which is what we try to do. We try to hide them and suppress them. In fact, we do it so much so that, we'll go and pay psychologists to probe our minds, and which I'm not knocking that at all. I've actually gone to marital counseling and things like that, and it's helped out tremendously. But never gets that emotional response. At least for me, it never released that. And so we look at this, we want to push it away, but in fact, what we want to do is we want to bring it to light. So in the book, Letting Go, you want to feel that emotion and feel it as much as possible. Let it well up inside of you and start seeing, like, what is this feeling, and let it do its thing. And eventually it'll lose its charge. Okay? Those emotions are there they were at one point in time to serve you, and now because you're letting it do its thing, it literally runs through your body to where it does not happen anymore, because your body says, oh, I don't need it. I don't need this anymore. We're okay. Okay, I can let go. Okay. And there are a couple of different ways to do this. That's some people do it through meditation. Some people do it just by what I just said, feeling that feeling and let it just do its thing. I personally use it's called SRT. I think it's subconscious release treatment or therapy or something like that. But SRT Global, if you Google SRT Global, I have no affiliation with them whatsoever, but I use their coaches, and they have a little technique that's super fast, and it's crazy because I went from, if you look at my videos from, let's just say, from the date of this video, if you go back 2 years, maybe a year and a half, you'll see a completely different person. You'll see a completely different voice. You'll see a much more nervous person, a much more self-conscious person. I would care if you like me, or if you thought I was weird. I probably have people looking at me through the window over here, because I'm in kind of like a business area. I probably have people who have looked at me as they drove by, which they have, and I wave at them and everything like that. And before, I would have been like nervous. I would have been, oh man, they're going to kick me off, or they're going to do this, or they're going to do that. And you could feel it in my body. You can feel that I needed to speak quickly so that I could get out of this place, right? And so you go look at those videos, and that is a different man, because of all of that gunk, all of those blocks, all of those beliefs that were triggering up inside of me. If I do this, somebody's going to yell at me. If I do this, this is private property. They're going to come kick me out. If I do this, I'm going to get in trouble. A cop's going to come and arrest me. Whatever it is, I don't know. It was just a feeling that would come, right? But now there's gooses flying by. Now there is a 100% different person. And that is because all that gunk, well, most of it has gone away, has been released. And everything from facial features to my physical fitness, never believing that I could become physically fit like I am now, right? Never believing I could be the kind of guy that I wanted to be, because I would always be a poser, right? Those were what was holding me back from immense success when it comes to not just my business, but content and helping people and hopefully helping you. So SRT Global, I highly recommend. SRT Global coaches, I think they have they also have SRT Unlimited, which is more of a online thing with coaching and stuff like that. Best money I've ever spent. They do free sessions too. And you just get used, as long as you just notice, you have to notice that that trigger, whatever that trigger is that you worked on, is not there. I would have a hard time talking with Starbucks baristas. I would have a hard time talking with anybody because I would constantly be in this fight or flight mode. And that is not the way to live. It's super stressful. You're going to become unhealthy. But the faster that you release these old triggers, this childhood trauma, and you really, really dive in and get rid of those triggers that are causing you to do things. Maybe yell at your wife, yell at your husband, yell at your kids. Maybe it's causing you to back down to when your clients are being dumb. Maybe it's you're not being nice to your clients. Maybe you are not giving your clients an amazing experience because you're afraid that if you do, they're going to take advantage of you. All of these things are because of these old triggers. And as soon as you can get past these triggers, you'll be on a whole nother level. Okay, so this is Dean Soto, and hope this has helped. My goal is to help you. I'm really speaking to my old self, the self that really needed to hear this. So if it's helped you, please let me know. Thumbs up, subscribe, do all those things, and I'll catch you in the next video.